Hey guys, it's time for Shiloh chapter 11. And so, of course, Ma found out about Shiloh and they weren't going to say anything till the next day. And then Shiloh got attacked by a German Shepherd in chapter 10. And Marty and Dad both ran up. And so now Dad knows that Shiloh was being hidden. And now Shiloh's at the vet, not sure if he's going to live or die. And they're back home after they left Shiloh at the vet. So let's see what happens here in Shiloh chapter 11. It's only after I lie back down on the couch that night that I realize what all I've done. To Ma and Pa, for one thing. Ma's still awake. I can see the light in the bedroom as Dad goes on down the hall. Then I hear their voices. Not all of what they say, but enough. Ray, told you I just found out about that dog myself. Secrets from me, you, and Marty. Till tomorrow, I would have told you then. Every day, the mail to Judd's place mentions that dog to me, and all the time, up on my own property, not even knowing. I bring my arms up against my ears and hold them there. So many things going wrong. It's hard to remember anything going right. Doc Murphy knows I've got Judd's dog now. Dad's mad at Ma, and we won't even know tomorrow if Shiloh's even going to make it or not. Worst of all, I brought Shiloh here to keep him from being hurt, and what that German Shepherd done to him was probably worse than anything Judd Travers would have brought himself to do, short of shooting him anyways. This time when the tears come again, I don't even fight. Don't even try holding back. I must have slept through Dad's going off to work the next morning, because when I wake, Becky's standing beside the couch, eating a piece of honey toast and breathing on my face. Dara Lynn's already told her about the dog because she asked right off, "Where's it at, the doggy?" I sit up and tell her the dog's at Doc Murphy's and we'll find out how he is that afternoon. Then I look in the kitchen at Ma. There, the set look about the lips that means trouble. That means don't mess with her because she's already in trouble with Dad. I go outside, pick me a couple of wormy peaches, and sit on the stoop, eating at them, spitting out the wormy places. Dara Lynn comes out and sits beside me. Today she's all kindness. Judd Travers don't take care of his dog, Marty. No wonder it came up here, she says, trying to do the right thing, trying to say the right thing. I can tell she's been figuring it all out from what she could overheard, from what she could hear Ma and Pa and Dad and anyone else. Let me read that sentence again. I can tell she's been figuring it all out from what she could overhear between Ma and Dad and anything else Ma told her. I take another bite of peach. It wasn't like you stole him, she says. That dog just come up here on its own. Just hush up, darling, I say, which I had no business saying. I just didn't want to talk about it to anyone. That's all. Well, you could have told me and I wouldn't have told anyone. Thanks. Ma says we've got to give him back to Judd Travers when he's better. I get up and start toward the hill to clean up the ground where Shiloh was attacked, see if there's any way I can put some fence wire over the top of the pen to keep out the shepherd. What's his name, Marty? Darlene calls after me. Shiloh, I tell her. I'm only halfway up the hill when I hear a car and turn around. It's Miss Howard's car, and David's in it. Soon as he sees me, he jumps out. It's still moving a little and comes running toward me. I get to stay here today, he yells, waving a kite he's brought with him. Everyone else is going to Parkersburg, and I don't even want to go. I look over to where Ma and Miss Howard are talking and see Ma nodding her head. I get lonely sometimes up at our house, but today I want to be with that loneliness. Don't want to talk to Dara Lynn, to Becky, to Dad, or even Ma. If we had a telephone, I'd be calling Doc Murphy every hour. As it is, I have to wait till Dad comes home from work before I can find out about Shiloh. Can't go down there pestering Doc, him with patience to see. What do you want to do? I asked David, trying to dig up the least little bit of enthusiasm. David and I are in the same grade, even though he's taller and heavier and looks like junior high already. Try out this kite over your meadow, he says. I lead him around the long way, away from Shiloh's pen, and he doesn't even notice because he is unwrapping his kite, made of silk or something, which one of his relatives bought him. We stand out there in the meadow, flying the kite, and I watch the blue and yellow and green tail whipping around in the breeze, and I'm thinking about Shiloh's tail, the way it wags. You get a dog on your mind, it seems to fill up the whole space. Everything you do reminds you of that dog. When we bring the kite down later, though, David sees a groundhog, and the next thing you know, he's after it. The groundhog zigzagging this way and that, and David yelling like crazy. I'm taking your cot back down to the house, David, I yell when I see him getting near Shiloh's pen. He goes on running and yelling. I want to get me a handful of soda crackers. You want to make some peanut butter sandwiches? I call out, trying to get him to follow. And then his yelling stops. Hey, he says. I know he's found the pen, and I walk over. What's this? David asks. He looks at the blood on the ground. Hey, what happened here? I go over and yank his arm and make him sit down. He's looking at me bug-eyed. You listen to me, David Howard, I say. Whenever I say David Howard, he knows it's serious. I only did it twice in my life. Once when he said on the paper flower pot I'd made for Ma at school, and once when he saw me with my pants down in the bathroom. That really made me mad. But today I'm not mad, I'm serious. Something awful and terrible happened in there, David. And if you ever tell anyone, even your ma and dad, may Jesus make you blind. That's the kind of talk my folks can't stand. But I got it from Grandma Preston herself. Ma says Jesus don't go around making anyone blind. But Grandma Preston always used it as a warning, and she went to church every Sunday morning and evening both. David's eyes about to pop out of his head. What? He asked again. Do you know Judge Travers? He was murdered? No, but you know the way he's mean to his dogs? He killed one of his dogs in there? No, let me tell it, David. You know he's missing a dog? Yeah. Well, it came up here on its own, and I let him stay. I built him a pen and kept him secret and named him Shiloh. David stares at me, then at the blood in the pen, and then back at me again. Last night, I tell him, Baker's German Shepherd jumped the fence and tore him up. We took Shiloh to Doc Murphy, and Judd don't know. David's mouth falls open and hangs there. Wow, he says, and then says it again. I tell David how hurt Shiloh was and how we've got to wait till tonight to see how he is. Then we go in his pen together, and David helps me clean up the blood, pull up all the grass with blood stains on it, and throw it over the fence into the woods. It's easier somehow with David helping, with David knowing even. If it was me by myself, I'd be thinking again and again how this would never have happened if Shiloh could have got away from the shepherd. I look at David and think we're friends for life. And then I think how there are exactly 7 people now who know I have Judd Travers' dog. And it's only a matter of time before somebody lets it out. Probably Becky. She'll warble it to the first person coming up the lane. Do you ever notice how the more a little kid tries not to tell a secret, the sooner it gets out? Nothing that child can do about it. The secret's just too big with a little kid. What I didn't expect was that at 3:30, before Dad came home, here's Doc Murphy's car chugging up the lane, and he's got Shiloh in the back seat. I'm standing out by the oak tree with David taking turns on the bag swing when I see the car and Shiloh's head raise up in the back seat. I'm over to the car in 3 seconds flat. Shiloh! No cry ever sounded so happy as the one that come up out of my throat. All of us were crowding around the car. Ma and Darylyn and Becky and David Howard, and all of us are saying, Shiloh, here, boy, and holding out our hands, and Shiloh's trying to lick everything in sight. The patient recovered faster than I thought he would, Doc says, getting his big belly out from behind the steering wheel and standing up. So I figured I'd bring him over myself. And then the mother had patients coming in and out today and don't know that I wanted them to see that dog. She nodded. I'm going to pay for this, Doc Murphy, I tell him. You send the bill to Dad and he'll pay it, but then I'm paying him. Well, son, that's a generous thing to do with a dog that's not even yours, he says. Is he all well now? No, not by a long shot. Think it's going to take a couple of weeks to heal. I can't promise you he'll walk without a limp, but I got him sewn back up and full of antibiotics. If you can keep him quiet for a few days and off that leg, I think he'll pull through just fine. If Ma was mad at me before, she's not now. Not the way Shiloh's licking her all over her both of her arms. The doorway and Dad, I skipped a page, sorry. Licking her all over her arms, getting a quick lick at her face every time she bends close. Becky's sticking her hand out for Shiloh to lick, and when he does, she squeals and pulls back. Shiloh's tail is going like crazy. It's like a welcome home party. Ma has me bring in this cardboard box from the shed, and we put an old pillow in the bottom of it and cover it with a clean sheet, and Doc Murphy lays Shiloh down inside it. Shiloh seems to know he can't walk too good, because as soon as he tries to stand up, he sinks back down again and looks at his leg. I'm glad Shiloh's back. I'm glad he's going to get better and that we can keep him till he's well. But the more I sit there petting his head, feeling his happiness, the more I know I can't give him up. I won't. Uh-oh. Sounds like more trouble, doesn't it? All right. Well, I'm glad Shiloh made it. I'm glad Shiloh didn't die. And we'll read chapter 12 and see what happens next later. Thanks for listening.